If you had a piece of advice to give somebody who suspects they might have a hearing loss, but they just haven't taken action,
Yeah,
what advice would that be?
I would get on Google and find a local hearing aid specialist or
Okay.
audiologist and go get a test, you know. And most of these places will do a demonstration for you, you know, of hearing aids and whatnot. One thing that I do, I mean, so people they always come in and they're like, because I work with the technology every day for many years. It's just so easy for me, but it's not easy for everybody. They need help. Sometimes they might be embarrassed and say, I'm back again. I can't figure this out. But that never bothers me. I just know that that's where I'm adding the value. So I embrace that, So,
So, what about loved ones who are concerned about someone in their family losing their hearing and perhaps they're resistant to getting help? Is there anything that you can say to a family member that would give them some strength to get this person really to get tested?
well, I mean, you could just Google the effects of untreated hearing loss, and just try and educate yourself as best as possible and let your family member know. That would be, I mean, I've never talked anybody into getting a hearing aid ever, you know. They
That's not going to do any good because then they won't wear them.
you
So,
got it.
yeah, it's
Never.
good.
They come when they're ready.
When you look back over your career in audiology, what has this work taught you just about life or about aging, about what really matters?
Oh my God. It's the lessons I've learned are endless. They are. And I cherish the relationships I have with my patients more than anything else in the career. I mean, it's just you get to witness people going through these stages of life, and not only that, but they look at you and where you're at. And I have three small children, and it makes me appreciate where I'm at so much more because they tell me, it goes fast. And I've made connections with people in every other industry and every other service that I might need. And it's wonderful. I love being a part of the community. I love being valuable. I love that my specific talents I just happen to fall into something that I'm just good at, and that suits me. I've been playing with microphones and receivers since I was a little kid. So I've always been interested in sound, music, and that kind of thing. So
So
just
that's
sort
the
of,
one thing that you and I had in common. We both love to perform. We've been in bands and we get sound. So I was going to ask you, how's helping people hear better connected to your own sense of purpose and meaning? I mean, after all, this is called Beyond the Numbers, where money meets meaning and purpose. You kind of talked about it. I mean, you fell into this, but you've really found a sense of purpose and meaning in what you're doing, haven't you?
I mean, for sure, because, I mean, obviously, I wish I had more money. I mean, we all wish I wish I had this level of security, but I kind of said earlier that the goalpost is always moving. So, I would love to be able to start enjoying my life now instead of postponing it until I achieve this or that. It just doesn't exist, and that's something I've learned, from my patients. But if I didn't have if it wasn't such a rewarding job to do, and I didn't make such an impact, because you really make such an impact on people. And it's not everybody. Like, yeah, there are some people that could just order something online or, go to a big box store or something, and they don't need, all this attention or connection or service or counseling. But that's the part of the sandbox that I play in, essentially, is and that's my bread and butter, somebody that high end technology with really, really good service. And if it wasn't rewarding, I couldn't do it every day. I just couldn't, so I go home, and like I said, I mean, the stories are endless. The people, they're hysterical, they're charming, they're wonderful. That's wonderful. It's great to just connect with people. I mean, if you didn't have that, it would be hard to keep going. It really would.
I'm sure it would. So, Adam, if listeners wanted to learn more about you or Audible, or if they really were ready to take that first step with their hearing health, what's the best way to connect with you?
So we have a website, Audibel here. Well, you can just Google Audibel of Westmont or Audibel of LaGrange. Okay.
It's Audibel.
EL. Yep. And you'll see our 5-star Google reviews, which is just the thing I'm most proud of, that we've got hundreds of them, maybe I think almost 700 between the two offices. I've only had a handful of bad reviews and they've kept me up at night. But you can't make everybody happy, Chris. But
You sure can try.
yeah,
Yeah,
you sure
that's
can.
all you can do.
And
Jiminy,
you can just Google us, and they'll have their contact information there. You can call the office and make an appointment, and
what's your phone number?
it's actually 630 you here, but
Ah,
630-968-4327.
perfect.
And I love my staff too, so I'm really lucky. I have a phenomenal assistant that is just, she's just trustworthy and loyal and intelligent and caring and just wonderful. And I also have a new specialist that I've been training for about 8 months now, and he's pretty phenomenal too. So I'm just lucky. I'm lucky that I get to do something that makes such an impact. I think an impact is really what I really love about it the most. So
Well done. Well said.